Let's talk about how the carnivore diet is more of a cult than anything.
Okay.
It's a straight up cult following. The people that follow the carnivore, I would want to say diet, but I rather say cult because it's pretty much a cult. Can't keep a straight face. Because people are so hardcore. Like, unlike the vegans they're pretty soft. They're like, yeah, we just love animals. We're not gonna try to force you to eat bugs or anything. Just eat, these leafy greens that we have to kill, tons of acres of life to grow, and kill more with pesticides every year, and then pollute the dirt to grow these leafy greens so you could be a vegan and not hurt animals.
Okay. That's a way to look at it. We're getting this episode off to a great start.
There's a good book I highly recommend to a lot of people. Is the vegetarian no, not dilemma, delusion, the vegetarian delusion. And she talks about all this. She was a vegan most her life, and then at some point, like, she's a carnivore. She follows the carnivore cult. So, I mean, are you part of the cult? That is the question.
I feel like I'm getting initiated.
Really? Okay. Did they like throw chunks of steak at you as you
No,
walk in?
I think, like with all cults, it has to start out voluntarily. There has to, there has to be something that sort of draws you in, the promise of something better.
Yeah, you're right. The promise of something better. And then, like, because there's another cult following that I forgot what it was. They were expecting some alien Jesus to come, and they went on this hilltop and they sold all their belongings, and they basically waited on this hilltop for, like, I don't know, 24 hours, right? And nothing came. And imagine the disappointment.
I feel like you're blending stories, but okay.
Possibly. I don't know. You could have told me this. I don't know. There were so many cults that do so many. I mean, the huge one where, like, hundreds of people died, where they all drank the lemonade
Right.
or the punch. What do you call it?
Yep.
Yeah. That one's right straight up, like, legit.
Yeah.
That one was scary, and that was like a real thing.
And they all were going onto the starship.
Yeah, with the juice. I mean, technically, if you believe in spiritual life, they kind of did. I mean, if you want to look at it that way. But okay, let's wind down back to the carnivore cult and why it's a cult.
Why is it a cult?
Because you believe in something that's so, you believe in, you believe in it so, not firmly. I can't even find the words. You just believe in it.
It's fervently.
You believe in it.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of put it really simply. But that's why it's a cult, because and if anybody else tries to tell you something like, eat your vegetables, they're healthy for you, you need the fiber, you say straight up no. You don't even want to listen to them, but maybe they're right about the vegetables and the fiber.
I think, to the counterpoint, one of the things that we're not working with here
Oh, yeah.
is faith. The results are tangible. I have a scale that doesn't really care what gets on it. It just tells me of a number based on the force against gravity, or however physics works. But basically, a lot of these, it's not like they looked up and saw a starship and a banner that said "Drink the Kool-Aid and come aboard."
Right.
You did have to maybe take a little bit of a leap of faith in the beginning, but I think the reason so many people are able to adhere to this cultish behavior is there's physical and tangible results and things that are happening on the other side. People are having metabolic issues that go away, mental health issues that go away, lots of issues that subside, if not completely go away. So it's like,
And to clarify, when I say the carnivore cult, or the carnivore, let's stick carnivore, I'm not talking about zero carb or low carb.
That's just the keto cult.
Yeah, exactly. I'm specifically talking about like beef, eggs, salt, and butter. Because like you can't get any low. I mean, I guess the only thing you could change is maybe beef and salt. That's like you could go there. I guess there is. I mean, I've heard of people not taking eggs very well.
And different parts of the egg. Like, I know there are people that are fine tolerating the yolk, but they have, histamine issues with the.
But then again, is it how the chicken has been raised? If it's a farm chicken versus a, how can I say it, industrial farm chicken?
No, and there's definitely issues all around these things. It's kind of hard to pinpoint. That's a very fine edge, when you start comparing, if you have a breakout because you ate beef versus not having a breakout because you ate organic grass-fed pasture-raised cow.
Well, okay then. When we're saying carnivore, I would say you just take the regular beef from a supermarket, ground beef, eat that, get healthy. And that's like the crappiest beef you could get. Right. Just regular supermarket ground beef.
Right.
Ground beef, they just put everything in there. That's the,
And it's full of hormones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You eat that, you get healthy. Mm-hmm. You lose body fat. You gain muscle.
You stop having anxiety and depression.
Your mood levels out. And then all the stories I've heard of autism subsiding, of mental disorder subsiding. So this cult might have some non-cult truth to it.
But it could all just be a placebo effect. It could,
that was our other podcast.
But no. So here's the reality: people join religions, they pray, and they stop drinking alcohol for real.
And you would feel a lot better not drinking alcohol.
And you would feel a lot better, and
it was the Messiah that helped them through it,
or the Holy Spirit, or whatever you want to call it. So, I don't know. I think I watch a lot of people on YouTube, and the people that sell their channel well, obviously we need more subscribers. Click and like. They're very good talkers about it. They have a good presentation. They have things to back up their claims ready to go in the chamber, and they come on YouTube or Instagram and they fire away, and it sounds really good and they sell it really well.
And we're talking about the carnivore YouTubers.
And all the YouTubers who...
Like in the health industry, kind of the diet industry.
Right. Whenever you click on and you see somebody and they've got 20 million views or whatever, those people are well spoken about whatever topic they're trying to promote.
Absolutely. It's almost like they're on point with their material.
Right.
Doesn't matter, carnivore or vegans, whatever the YouTube channel is.
And here we are as young inductees just finding our voice.
But at the end of the day, are we getting results from eating the carnivore diet?
I would have to say so, because I've never experienced anything like this. And I have, at one point in time, I have eaten as healthy as I thought a person could eat, organic, balanced, watching food combinations, things like that.
Your macros, balancing out your macros.
Just everything.
So then, is the healthy diet just eat healthy? You know that term that everybody, just eat healthy. Mm-hmm. What does that mean, right? It means many things, different things. Maybe in reality, that's the cult. because that is by faith.
So,
You believe in it.
I kind of shot you an idea.
Yeah.
And I'm actually starting to look at it legitimately more like a dictatorship.
It's not even a cult. It's a dictatorship.
Right.
I got
there's
you.
There's people in power that, and you made it, and it really spun off of what you said. It's like one of the interesting things about being on a carnivore diet to, from the like super extreme lion diet side to, people who are basically just all meat and eggs and maybe butter or whatever, but there's no monetization in this diet. You can't, unless you're a beef farmer, but I haven't
Right.
I haven't seen a single beef farmer promoting yet anyways.
Eat my beef, right?
So-
Eat my cows.
But more importantly, there is no monetization in it in the respect that you can't put this in fancy flaming packages. You can't put it on the shelf for unrealistic lengths of time.
You can't make it addictive.
You can't make it addictive. You actually doing it, you just get away from food cravings and all that stuff. It's very difficult to package any of this in like a way that you can transport it. You can maybe make your own beef jerky, or there's a couple of companies now that are making very basic like meat, salt, dehydrated, and that's how they sell it. But the whole concept of this diet is get off of supplements, get off of medications, get away from shelf-stable foods like cereals and grains, right? Canned food, all these things. And so when you look at it and you say, okay, why did we get like seed oils in the first place? Where did that originally come from? And a lot of it has
Machine lubricants.
so you have two things. You have people that were making something already and they had this byproduct.
Yep.
And the other thing was companies that were selling products wanted to be able to keep those products on the shelf longer without them spoiling. And we get, really simple things. In reality, compared to like this engineered food we have today, but just like pasteurization and homogenization, those two things changed the milk industry forever.
Yeah.
And those are not chemical additives. People would argue with you that raw milk and pasteurized homogenized milk, it's the same thing.
Nope.
But they would argue it. It's like it's milk and it's milk. There's no other ingredients. It's the same thing. And so
That's chemistry.
it is chemistry. You denature the proteins, you smash the molecules, you make it mixable.
Yep.
And you get a product that can now sit on the shelf for ages longer than its raw counterpart. So
2 weeks in the fridge, easy.
2 weeks past the sell-by date, easy.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I never have milk that long.
No, I get it. But, that's sort of the interesting thing and why I'm starting to look at the traditional Western, or it's not even Western anymore. It's like there's everything that's acceptable, Doritos and Taco Bell and all that stuff. And then there's eating healthy. And it's all marketable. You can put a bar and you can say it's gluten-free. You can
Whatever that means.
You can say it's vegan.
Yeah.
Not made with soy. Made with soy. Go out there and look. There's everything under the sun except for just me.
So, okay, then what makes it seem to people that the carnivore diet is a cult? Is it the promoting just eat meat? Is it the lack of understanding? I mean, there's always that. There's always lack of understanding.
So you're asking, why do other people view this as
Yeah,
like it's
absolutely.
I think it's because of people who are on it, especially those who've been on it for a while, people who've had dramatic health turnarounds. You know, we're new compared to
Oh yeah,
some.
we're barely what
30
40
plus days.
Yeah, 30 plus days, maybe 40 days at the most.
I think why people view those people who have been in it a long time as like acting cultish is their unwavering behavior. They're not going to eat meat. I'm really like, I looked at some stuff my wife was making the other day. Can't lie, looked good. She made this Cajun pasta dish that she copycatted off of Cheesecake Factory. It's delicious. And I looked at it and I was like, man, it looks good. It smells good. It actually has a lot of meat in it, you know. But it also has a lot of pasta, and it also has a lot of, like tomatoes and all these other things. And I'm not ready to get on the bandwagon because I think, like, to the same point, why is it being looked at this? You know, it's like people who are coming out there and are like, you don't understand, vegetables are trying to kill you. And there's other doctors that come on and say, no, you don't understand, you know.
Well, I'm going to leap off that topic there. Not understanding, which comes usually from studies. When I watch either vegan or carnivore YouTubers, they talk about studies. In this study, they show this in these markers. In that study, they show this in this markers. And the studies are all over the place. Like, none of them have a conclusion, like a finite conclusion. This is the answer. This is the truth. Because if they did, we wouldn't be feeling so much better on this carnivore diet. And not just us. We're just like you said, we're brand new. We barely touched our toe in the water. There's people that have been doing this for years, and they changed their entire life around. They're like the ones we look at them. They're like, no, they're in the cold, but no, they're just the results speak for themselves. Right? They don't have faith, they have results. Faith is something without, you don't have the results. You're waiting for the results.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the other diets, right? And that's why I talk about the studies, because all these studies are telling us something opposed to another study. All these studies are opposing each other, and these people come up on, and I've seen a few vegan versus carnivore debates, and they just talk about these studies and go back around these numbers, but this happened, this and this and this, but this was in mice, and a lot of these studies are in mice also. We're not mice.
And
okay?
Mice eat a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they eat plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess humans do now too. But yeah, that's the thing. These studies are all over the place. I mean, and why I say this, another thing is like why I'm believing it so strongly, because I see these guys debating it, and they cannot ever come to a conclusion. They stick in their little corner, the vegan or the carnivore corner, right? And it's just, there's no conclusive. There's no conclusivity in the studies. People can't agree on them. What is ultimately, how can you prove something is correct? By results. So the carnivore and all the interviews I've seen results. There's a few, there's a few that have backed away from the carnivore, and it wasn't like, from what I've seen, because sometimes usually when you find like something really good, you stick with it, right? And the few people that did, it's not like they went, I'm never doing carnivore. It's like, no, I just introduced fruits or something like that.
Right.
They're not going back to eating their pastas.
No, and
or 100% vegan.
Right. No, I see that. I see people that also look at these things, you pull out studies and you do all these things. And so often I ask myself, and maybe there's an answer out there, but again, we're kind of the lay people here. But I asked myself, it's like you take people and you just change one thing in like a swimming pool of stuff. It's like if you take a person and they don't change anything else in their life, but you have them exercise 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week, and they weren't doing that before, it's like, yeah, they're going to get some pretty good results.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And so it's like you say to somebody, it's like, okay, you don't change anything in a person's diet. You just cut out fatty meats. So basically, overall, you're going to lose some calories. And it's like, yeah, they lose weight. And they do these studies for such short amount of time. Some are long. I'm not, but I always wonder, it's like, you're just isolating something. When we are doing it in real life, and something that I would like to get across to people is like, this is, it's like a lifestyle, first of all, because, you don't go out to eat like you used to anyways. Your grocery shopping habits change. The way you think about food literally changes because you're not thinking about food all the time.
That's for sure. Absolutely.
And I could just hear people saying, well, no wonder you're not thinking about food. You're probably bored as hell of it.
You're depressed. You're eating all that meat. You must be depressed.
Or something. And, it's like...
No, I could finally think clearly for the first time in my life when my, brain activity is absolutely even. It's not spiking all over the place because I'm on, too much insulin overdose or sugar overdose or whatever. Not enough sugar, not enough insulin. My hormones are going wild because I'm eating all these freaking sugars and carbs.
But I just think, there's a whole lifestyle behind this. And I think that's one reason why people get scared off of things is because they don't want to break society norms. It looks very strange when I go out to eat.
Eating healthy dictatorship. I like that term.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember learning about food from Saturday morning cartoon commercials.
Eat your vegetables.
All kinds of things. If you're hungry, you can eat a piece of cheese and get you over till, dinner time. Food pyramids,
The biggest scam ever.
Right. And, it's like, and when you start kind of reverse engineering all these things, it's where did it all come from? And it's capitalism. There's no money in hunter-gatherers.
Well, no, like you said earlier, there's really you can't sell meat in a way where it's so addictive because so far from our experience, let's ignore the studies and other people's experience. This is just I guess you could say anecdotal, but I would say it's experience based. From my experience, your experience, and other experience of so many interviews I watched about people going carnivore and what they fixed. Eating meat, specifically beef, salt, butter, eggs, that minimal lifestyle or minimal eating lifestyle equals health. And when you try to advertise that eliminates so many other industries. Let's not even get into the whole medical industry. It'll put out, 90% of the medical industry out of business. Your teeth don't rot.
Right. That's bizarre.
Right? You basically, the diabetes is cured. Then what else? Alzheimer's doesn't exist. Obesity doesn't exist. Your knee joints don't need to get replaced. You can't, you won't hurt your back as easily. What else? I mean, I could keep going.
Well,
I guess.
I mean,
all the stomach issues people have.
Going back to your mental health part, right? And your mental clarity.
Oh my God.
It's like, the Kellogg's theory of cornflakes. They literally introduced cornflakes to reduce sexual desire in a mental facility.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So, okay. Disclaimer. I don't know this, but I've heard this rumors.
Let's go with I like rumors.
Yeah. That it was developed and introduced specifically to reduce, not it doesn't eliminate, but reduce the kind of like the adverse sexual behaviors of people that were in mental facility or something. So, and I've been told and heard a lot now since we've been in our cult that, grains make people a lot more complacent and
Obey.
and a lot more easily susceptible to suggestion. So, you eat a bowl of carbs and you're watching TV and then you see an advertisement for Pizza Hut. You may not eat Pizza Hut right there because you're eating a bowl of spaghetti.
But it's in there now.
Right.
Like the mental image is like attached to that whatever you were eating, and now you're gonna think about that. Oh no, but I saw that commercial. I want that now.
Right. And even if you don't have that brand's pizza, you're thinking, well, but some pizza does sound pretty good.
So are we talking about some deep brain altering, almost like conspiracy, government control?
So here's the crazy part about it, right? My personal opinion. I don't have any problems with the idea of capitalism. And if people have a product and they market it and the consumer goes and buys it and then they, it's like buying a hammer. There's like an expectation of what's supposed to happen after you get the hammer. Like you can now hit things like a nail. And, you could also hit windows.
Yeah, you could use it for what its intended purposes is, or, maliciously break people's windows.
And, you could go get a burger at McDonald's and do it because you've been on a long drive and you have a long ways to go still.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, and you can use it, or you can just eat it every day because for whatever reason. Now, I don't know. Like deep conspiracy, I think a lot of these things have to work in secret. But most of this stuff, in my opinion, seems to be just operating right there out in the open.
Well, I would say there's also government regulations involved. When you apply dictatorship like government regulation to capitalism, it's not really capitalism.
True.
It's kind of like controlled capitalism.
It's like, have you ever seen, what movie was that?
What happened?
There was a movie about magicians.
No.
And they were committing crimes. Anyways, the whole idea is for weeks they were conditioning a person. They would target him and they would show him numbers and names, but all like very subliminally.
Okay.
And then they kind of corner him later on, and then it's like, bet we can guess what number you're thinking of. Because for weeks they've been...
I would say that's everyday advertisement.
Right. And that's kind of where I'm headed with that.
Yeah.
Is, you have sort of free will. You could have picked any number or chosen any food. But what are you?
You are conditioned to choose whatever number.
Yep.
Because they conditioned him over time.
Yep.
So he's going to choose that number.
And even if he doesn't, if you took groups of thousands and millions, the vast majority would.
And that's where we're at with the current eat healthy dictatorship.
And it's crazy because why Healthy Choice, frozen dinners.
The name is a healthy choice. I love it.
But do you know why they're in green packaging?
To make it more appealing.
Because green is associated with health naturally.
Naturally?
Meaning...
Oh, yeah,
like universally.
Yep. I know what you mean. Like spring, like versus, yellow desert where there's no life.
Right.
Green, there's life. There's resources. I could find water. I could find food. Absolutely.
It's life.
That's right.
It's right. So like brown, we have strange natural color associations. That's why padded rooms are pink. And it's why caution or, cones are orange,
Yeah.
you know. So there is some inherent things, but people have gotten way too good at playing off of them. We've talked about that receptor on the back of your tongue and why they've made so many chemicals that taste sweet and activate on that sweetness. You want it.
So then going back to my original question, why do people think a carnivore is a cult? Is it because they're so conditioned throughout their lifetime? We just talked about conditioning over lifetime, right? Now we're talking about lifetime, because when you talk to people about we're not talking about 12-year-old kids that don't really have a lifetime. We're talking about anybody in their 30s and up. Really, that's kind of who's we're interested in, because their health starts going down. They start looking into this thing. So when you say carnivore diet, they're gonna like, oh, it's a cult. So is it really cult? I don't think it is. I think it's just people are so scared of it because it's so different than their everyday health diet that it must be a cult kind of mentality.
And I think we also use terms very loosely these days.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yes.
We throw terms around in a broad and overgeneralized way. We have, and I'm not going to go into like the socio-political, all that stuff, but we're living in a very different time where terms have become, labels, terms, all these things. They're just they're really overused, because once upon a time, if you said that either somebody was in a cult or that thing was a cult, it would actually be really scary. I don't think carnivores are trying to abduct children, and but the word had a really strong meaning once upon a time.
Okay, so you're saying the word's misused in general.
Right. I think people who get into a carnivore diet, like the carnivore diet, they become passionate about it.
Well, passionate. Why are they passionate? Because it's working. It's reversing so many issues they had all their lives, or much of their life, right? They developed lots of times. We developed a lot of these issues. Carnivore reversed it. Now I'm gonna tell people, hey, I've reversed this. If you're having this issue, I've helped myself with so many different things, and the fat doesn't want to stay on my body either. It's slowly coming off. So I'm gonna be passionate. I want to tell people about it, but it scares people away.
And I think you bring this to the other side. It's like when you really find something good and it works, and then you see the resistance that other people have towards it, I think the light bulb starts coming on that it's not necessarily that we're in a cult, but they're under control, because their reaction so far. I have not yet told one person in real life, in my real life circle, about what I'm doing, and had what I would call like a positive feedback.
Well, how about not even positive, how about just a curious feedback?
Nobody's been curious. I mean, they're kind of curious, like, okay, I want to see what happens to you. Are you going to die? And I know
Or interested curious. For their own sake.
Nobody for sure, at least if, somebody that I know is watching this and I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but...
you should express yourself better.
No, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, some people have been curious. They're interested...
If you're going to die, like you said.
Well, they're interested in what's been happening, and they're interested in hearing what has been happening to me, but like what you said, they're definitely not interested in the like I'm wanting to see if it works for you, because if it does, then I'm going to do it.
I have the same kind of conclusion there.
Yeah, because pretty much everybody is, it's like a fantasy. Like, it just can't be that easy. Just can't be.
Is it the natural instinct of if something too good to be true probably is too good to be true?
But I think that's beyond where we're at. Because, and I've expressed this many times, I worked in a machine shop, right? We made a lot of parts, and a lot of parts that fit together, whether it was making the two parts that work together or just making a part, and there's gauges and things that you test. And when you do it right, it becomes easy. And I really want to clarify, that doesn't mean no effort. Meaning you still have to like take out the hole that you bored, you have to hold it, you have to take a gauge pen, and you have to put it together, right? But when those things work, the effort that you're applying is very, very easy. If you've ever experienced cross-threading, right?
Yep.
As soon as you aren't cross-threaded, it's just like it spins right on.
Yep, like it should.
Okay, not zero effort, but the effort and the output that you have to produce for the result that you're getting, it's easy.
It just works.
And it just works. And I think that's where we're at here. It's like, I still have to buy food. You know, I still have to cook food. I still have to eat food. But
you're not doing hoops. You're
I'm
not doing backflips.
I'm not like in a journal, like wondering and
counting your calories. Oh no, I went over my macros on such and such item.
No, and the for real part of every other thing that I've ever done, you know, I get bored of like non-fat cottage cheese. You know, it's like how many bowls of non-fat cottage cheese with blueberries could I have eaten? And you know, I mean, I've been
spiking your sugar level, spike your insulin, and then being hungry in about an hour.
Right, and then you always end up caving on a bag of potato chips. It's just like, there you go.
And then muffins and some milk. Well, at least that's me.
Sure, yeah. So I don't know. It's like, it's not hard for me at this point, anyways, to not eat all these other things. And it's interesting, the like almost cultish revelations, because when I see things on TV, specifically TV, I am really seeing them differently. So I saw an advertisement for a popular fast food chain with breaded chicken. And I was looking at it. I was looking at it, and it's like, you know, none of that seems appealing at all. It looks, when I look at it, I'm going, oh, that's 92 chemicals and spices.
Okay, so speaking of advertising, there's no money in carnivore.
Right, we've said, yeah.
There, like so if this is such a fad and it doesn't work and it's a cult, but there's no money in it. There's you can't market carnivore, right?
And you're not controlling people, you're giving control back to the people.
That's no good for capitalism.
No,
that has nothing to do with capitalism.
And it's no good for cult leaders make their business out of control.
Good point, because like there's not one ultimate carnivore and we're like, yes, we will follow your meat. We're so sick of eating this meat, but we're gonna follow it because you told us it's healthy. No. We're like our own person. Like you said, we take control.
Right. Nobody's telling us. Nobody's advertising this on TV.
No, they're scared of this. Anybody's scared of this because if they advertise this, remember, 90% of the medical industry will go away.
And here's the crazy part. It's like, and even if the medical industry wasn't touched and all these other things, there still is no product to market. You can't,
my meat is juicier than the
right.
other meat.
There's a
what
lot
are you
of-
gonna do? Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have levels to their meat, meaning they're people that have organic, have grass fed, have pasture
Sure. Yeah,
raised.
there's that.
Yeah. So there's things that people are able to do to meat products in that regard, but you can only market this product when you start adding things that make it not work. When you start adding nitrites and sugars and all kinds of seasonings and flavorings and additives that really change what we're talking about here. Because we're not talking about, carnivore is not eating lunch meat roast beef.
Yes, let's clarify that. It's not processed meats at all.
Right.
It's raw meat cooked by you.
Right. And there are, some people with varying degrees of their carnivore lifestyle. Some people might add garlic or thyme or some things.
Yep, a little bit of seasoning.
Right. But again, those things that they're adding have one ingredient, meaning like you add thyme, like that's it. If you add pepper, there's not an ingredients list on the pepper. So there's nothing to market here. Nothing that I've been able to see. Like I said.
So even if we wanted this to be a cult, you can't make this a cult.
Right, because you're not controlling people. You're giving people back their control over their life. They're not being controlled by their medications. They're not running to Amazon to buy the latest supplement. They are freeing themselves of all of these chains.
So it's like the opposite of a cult. It's
Right.
like inverted cult is carnivore. And like it's hard to tell people about it.
Because they're chained. Think about that.
I think that's what it has to be. But okay, on another note, most people that are in some sort of religious cult, they think the same way. They don't believe me because they're blind. They don't see faith, or they don't have faith. They can't talk to the Holy Spirit, or they haven't been blessed by God, so they don't see how I see. So there's that aspect of it.
So we're just basically back to its placebo effect.
So here's the thing. Again, but I would say that stuff is based on faith. This is based on results. Carnivore is based on results. And we're getting results.
And we're also not, what do you call it? Personally, I'm not actively trying to rope people into this. I would like people to try it because I care about them.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like I tell people that I care about, hey, I want you to be healthy. I know you're struggling one way or another, especially if they are. And I love sharing what I'm doing, why I'm doing, what the results I'm getting, right? But yeah, especially if people ask, I want them to enjoy the benefits of being free. Anyways.
No freedom for you.
No freedom.
So I don't know. People are resistant to change naturally. I think that is the tip of the iceberg. That talking to anybody about this, you're starting with that. If a person isn't even open to the idea of change where they're at, then it's not going to matter too much what you suggest, because we have lots of friends, and if we walked up to them today and said, you've got to eat kale and strawberry salad every day, and that's it. You just have to add that to what you're already doing. Don't change anything, but you got to kale and strawberry salad every day, but no dressing.
Oh, no ranch.
Right. And, we would get a lot of resistance. We would find that because people have to, sadly, they've got to get to a place where they're...
That's a good point. Yeah, if you come up to somebody and say, hey, I'm just eating rice and beans every day. That's it. To me, that doesn't sound appealing like at all. That sounds the worst. After like 3 days, I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Why I even say that? Because I tried it. The 4-Hour Body. I read that book. It was a good book. Lots of, he did so many experiments on himself. Very cool. And his book kind of talks about basically the 4-hour diet. And then the diet basically tries to capitalize on your body to remove insulin and sugar from itself by eating a certain time, doing certain activities before you eat, eating a certain foods and certain times of day. So there is that, but that's like you're like trying to juggle, chainsaw and flame torches.
Right. That's a lot of work.
It is. And then I'm like, okay, that was my last thing I tried before switching to carnivore diet, and it worked, but then it just plateaued. And eating beans, you can't. You're gonna eat so many beans, and you can't do it anymore. Now I'm talk about steak. I could eat steak 3 times a day without problem, and if I'm tired of it, I don't eat for a day. Easy. Not because I don't want, or how can I say, I'm hungry and I'm fasting and torture myself. No, it's just because I'm not hungry.
Right.
I don't eat for a day because I'm not hungry. That's it. It's simple. My body's just boom. It knows what to do. And when I do eat again, the steak is the most delicious thing I've ever ate. Every single time.
It is really good. I know. I'm very surprised every time.
Right?
I know. I'm still shocked. And I've found variety in what we're doing. I showed you
small steak, big steak, buttery steak, salty steak, not so salty steak.
I made those burgers last night, and I really tried to get the Maillard reaction to get that crust on the outside.
Oh yeah, there's different ways of cooking it with the butter and stuff. Yeah. Sure.
And there's a lot of variety, even in this narrow window.
Right.
And it certainly is, again, back to that thing, it certainly is a lot easier than trying to figure out how I was going to eat 6 times a day, 5 or 6, and hold on, and stay under 1,600 calories.
Keep your metabolism going. Don't slow it down.
All kinds of things.
Keep those sugar spikes.
Yeah, not real big ones, but don't ever let them fall down.
Yeah. Don't ever get your insulin down so you could actually lose body fat.
So if it's a cult, I guess we're in it.
We're proud members of the carnivore cult.
And
but that's the thing, again, like you said, there's no leader. There's no leader of this cult. You are the leader yourself to yourself. You're free.
Oh, that's why it's what do they call that? Is it the rebellion? What is that? What do they call that when it's when it's a movement but there's no leader?
I'm not sure. I guess rebellion sounds about right. It's a rebellion. Yeah, we're rebelling against the natural, the healthy.
Yeah, no, we're just rebels. Right.
Yeah, of course.
We're just against everything. Vegans against. But before we leave, I do want to thank every vegan out there for leaving their more meat for me. Thank you.
Yeah, but they're also ruining the fields for the cows. Those damn vegans. They're at it again.
I think if you're vegan, you should just grow it on your own land.
Yeah, hey, vegan, prove it. Because I could definitely grow a cow on my land.
Yeah, I'm actually working on that. I would really love to raise a few animals.
My sister slaughtered her first cow a few months back.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you get any of that beef?
I could ask her for it. Yeah.
Oh, I bet you that's
They said basically now they have meat for a year.
Right. Didn't save any money though.
No. They did the math. I did the math. It's less than if we would have bought the half a cow per pound. Because I asked her how many pounds she had of meat. She told me, I did the math, and it was less.
That's good.
So
Very good.
No, they did. So
no, it's time.
Anyways, with that,
and thank everybody.
Carnivore cult. This is the end of the discussion. Is carnivore a cult?
I will answer it this way. I don't think so, but there are a lot of people that do.
Absolutely. I am the leader of it, and you please come join my cult. Know that I'm done.